I just have multiple apps on my phone for the purposes of tracking lightning, and like that's my main concern is which of these apps is going to be best good or best good. Which is best good? Here we are, Abe Cast Iron Brains, a podcast that hopes that if it ever hosts an international soccer tournament of great repute, that during the trophy presentation, it will linger awkwardly on stage while the championship team attempts to celebrate. My name is Bob, sitting across the way from my good friend and co-host. That's Abe. How you doing tonight, Abe?
Doing well, Bob.
Yeah. Here we are. Lori's here too. How you doing tonight, Lori?
I'm off a yarn detangling high.
Lori's super high from detangling yarn.
I wonder sometimes if I am autistic.
Tonight is Monday, July 20th, 2026. Abe, certainly not a man who would linger awkwardly on stage.
This is the second go-round of this, right? Wasn't there another celebratory event?
Was it another soccer tournament that he was somehow involved in? I don't remember.
It must be, but it wasn't... I don't know what it was, but I just remember him lingering around before.
Yeah.
This is not the first time he's done this.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
It was it was related to this. Like he wanted it was like the Donald Trump Peace World Cup. It was like two things in 1 week.
Some sort of qualifying World Cup thing or one of those
Yeah, like a year ago.
Euro or like North American Championship or something, whatever they call that.
It was some
Copa
sort of
or
event.
Something.
Yeah, because I think Spain is already airbrushing him out of the final.
Abe has narrowed it down to some sort of an event.
Thank you.
Glad to help.
When you watch the video, one wonders like what is in the man's head, right? Because like does he know what he's doing, or is he just... Because to me, what I see is, first of all, it's super weird because he and Infantino, who's the corrupt FIFA guy, they are mutually holding the trophy as they walk side by side. It's not like it's a 5x5 piece of like glass where you have to stand like with a buddy to carry it or something. It's just a one-man operation. It'd be like if you're holding a beer. Or something.
Well, like when they have the two people cut the ribbon with the big scissors.
With the goofy scissors.
Like one person can do
that.
But
they can just stand there and cut, though, both facing the camera so it's not as awkward. When you're carrying something small that doesn't need a buddy to carry it with, and you are both old and perhaps on the edge of infirm, it looks super weird when you are trying to walk it gingerly across the way there. And I guess he insisted on being a part of that. And Infantino was going to be like, well, but wait a second. I'm the FIFA fucking guy, right? Like, I know you're America guy, but like, I'm the FIFA guy. I'm not taking my hands off this fucking thing. This is the only thing that I get to do where everybody's not mad at me in the immediate moment, right? Because it's a joyful moment. So I'm not getting out of the way.
Right.
And I guess Trump is just like, no, I'm fucking doing it. You gave me the Peace Prize.
I think this is just like the world, the world is watching. There are a lot of cameras. People are happy, and I'm going to inject myself into that. And, realizing he'll spoil it for some, but it's like, fuck it. I'm just going to... The Spain
captain is like ushering him out of center stage.
Yeah.
The Infantino guy like grabs him by the arm and like tries to usher him off to the side as well. And he turns around and stands at the edge of the group of players, and with his goofy, slumped shoulders, because he's fat and old, and he just kind of looks at the bank of cameras. And I think, like, to give him the full benefit of the doubt, like, he thinks, well, there's a bank of cameras. People love Trump, right? Cameras love Trump.
Right.
I'm the president of the United States of America, and I'm Donald Trump.
Right.
Why wouldn't I stand here and get my picture taken with the team?
I'm like the host of this whole event that everybody's happy to participate in. So like I want my credit. The other, Mexico and Canada, they had like 3 games.
But
combined.
so you said it's like you said I want my credit. I don't think that's what's happening in his brain.
This is
like
don't fall for
I think it's below that somehow. Like it's like in order to try to wear the Donald Trump psychiatry in a way that is somewhat not shit-eating is to try to be as forgiving as possible. And I think that he is such a broken human that he does not realize that it's possible that the moment could be better without him there.
Right.
Like it doesn't even occur to him that people want to do stuff that doesn't have anything to do with him. And because he's in the area, of course, what's going on is functionally about him. And why wouldn't anyone else see it that way as well?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it could be. I just think he just wants the spotlight, and he pretends that he's, that whole part where Infantino's like trying to like usher him off. Like this is the part where we get off the stage to let the team have their moment. And Trump does the like, I'm not really following kind of thing. I'm going to do my dopey look face thing like that he does. Just kind of like, just sits there. And he left just as soon as the confetti and all the celebratory stuff happened. So basically he's like, I'm going to be there long enough so that the cameras capture me so that I can repurpose this for whatever reason online.
The Spain Twitter account, like of the country, I guess, posted a version of the photo with all of the confetti and stuff going out, but no Trump or Infantino in the picture. They photoshopped him out. And they didn't Photoshop out a couple of other dopes on the other side of the screen there. So it was intentional, seemingly.
Yeah, and I think he made some pot shots towards Spain. So I don't think he was rooting for them to win exactly. Not that it matters.
Well, like that 1,000 years ago, the debate with Hillary Clinton, where he kept like lingering right behind her.
That's right. Yeah,
it's like the same thing.
Yeah, I think that town hall format where he was kind of just like menacingly going behind her, just doing his thing.
There's a camera. I'm in the camera.
Yeah.
World Cup final sucked. I made a point of watching it, and it was boring. And
that's what you fucking get. That's what all you people get who think soccer's fun. That's the game you deserve.
It was a very. I enjoyed it. Where I was watching it, there was this rogue cloud that was just hovering right over where I was. Like, I rode my bike there. It was a pleasant Sunday. And then, like 40 minutes later, like I got, you can kind of feel the energy shift. Like there's some weird weather is happening where you can just kind of feel it, and then just torrential rain and thunder and lightning. And I did not realize.
Were you at some sort of outdoor sports bar?
It was one of those like that opens out. So they had like outdoor seating and indoor seating. I was wise enough to get indoor seating. All the poor suckers who were outside had to come inside, but. The place where I was watching it, I did not know DirecTV. I guess I should know this. I must have forgot. But DirecTV went without the satellite dish. Like apparently, the sports bar had DirecTV, and I knew that because when the lightning happened, like all the channels that were on DirecTV Fox stopped, and for 30 minutes, like we were just like on our phones, just kind of keeping track of it. So I missed a portion of the game, but it was fun. Remember when Georgia, a few years back, Georgia had like that dominant run where like they would not allow like one scoring touchdown. I think there was like a stretch of games. I think it was like the 2021 year
I do remember.
where Georgia was just like dominant on defense. You just could not do anything to them, and that's basically
there were no rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, and
until like week 9 or something.
Right, and this Spain team allowed one goal the whole tournament. I mean that's pretty impressive against Argentina and France, had two best teams.
Yeah, the Spanish defense was suffocating and overwhelming and didn't allow Argentina. But that's the other thing is having watched a couple of Argentina's matches throughout this tournament, they don't really press the issue either until there's a sudden opening. So it's this combination of Spain that doesn't allow anyone to even shoot on goal most of the time because they're so good on defense, and Argentina that doesn't appear to care to try to shoot the ball for overwhelming parts of the runtime of the game, which makes for a sort of boring and stultifying match by my watch.
Yeah, the punishment for boring soccer is more soccer.
I was afraid it was going to go to penalties, and then it's just a stupid parody of itself. The sport is not that. Also, the Argentinian team, a bunch of feisty losers.
Oh, poor sports.
To me.
What is their problem? Okay, this is the third straight final appearance. They won one, they lost one. I mean, now they lost two. But you're doing pretty good. I mean, you won a World Cup 4 years ago. You made it to the finals again. You lost in extra time. Why are they such sore losers?
There are stretches of any soccer game where it feels like each team is just trying to get free kicks, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, so we're kind of tired, and all that shit we thought we were going to do didn't work out, right? Our plans have been for naught. Nothing is working. So now we're just going to try to get free kicks, right? We're going to get near to that 18-yard box as possible and then start falling over in the hopes that we will get free kicks. And like, you'll encounter that in any soccer game. In this one, it seemed to be Argentina's like half of their game plan.
Right.
Was let's try to get free kicks a whole bunch. It's super lame. And it's why they lost a man ultimately, because that dope took a dive, and it was obvious to everyone that he took a dive, and so he got a yellow card, and then he got a second yellow card for being overly aggressive on the old tackle.
Was that guy exaggerating? I mean, he launched as if he was like blown by like some like device.
Into the air. I don't know how you can fake that. Like, you watch that replay, and the guy runs into his leg, and there's not an opportunity for him to leap. Like, it's true, on the, like, I don't, like, it would require really spectacular, granted, a world-class athlete, no doubt, but, like, spectacular body control to recognize here comes the contact and then willfully throw your leg back over yourself in order to do the big tumble.
Anyway, and that guy just happened. I think that was his move, was I'm going to dribble.
And then
backflip because this game is fucking boring. And the guy just happened to be there. There should be more backflips.
Got to get Cam Scataboo over there in the World Cup if you want more backflips.
I know there's no such thing as negative IQ, but if there was, like, he's the walking embodiment of negative IQ. Just
Cam Scataboo coming off a foot injury and doing backflips.
And not successfully either.
That's how he rehabs. What do you... Shut up.
He is not going to last more than a couple years. I mean, it's going to be entertaining, but, like, holy shit, this guy did not think.
Trump wants the World Cup again, and he's, like, telling the World Cup guy, like, hey, just give it to the United States again. We don't want that, right?
You know the thing? I mean, the U.S. never has to, like, create, you know, like open a new stadium that is not used again. Like, a lot of these host nations for past Olympics and past World Cups where it just becomes like this unused thing. All the stuff that has been used throughout this whole tournament goes back to being an NFL-type stadium in the fall, right? So, like, the infrastructure is already there. So, like, America is kind of an ideal place to host it, and eventually it'll be what? It'll be like a March Madness style. It'll be like 68 teams and then 100-plus teams. It'll be some ridiculous thing by the time the U.S. gets it back. I think, what is the earliest? 2038 or something? I don't know what the time horizon is for America to get it again, but it's not going to be for another 12 years. I mean, Trump is not going to be around 12 years from now, so.
I've long said that the Olympics should be like, all right, so here's a new wrinkle on an old take of mine. We have a boring billionaire and trillionaire class.
Yes.
Credit to Dolan, the MSG Knicks guy. Built a giant ball, like a huge television screen inside of a giant ball. That's pretty cool. And the sphere rules, and there's going to be more of them. So good on you there, James Dolan. But Elon Musk is about to be, or is in fact, the first trillionaire or something. I don't remember the details there. But like SpaceX could make him into an actual trillionaire, at least on paper. And he largely spends his time like on Twitter, getting into Twitter fights, and then like live streaming himself playing massive multiplayer online RPGs. Like a fucking loser at like 4 a.m. Like, I don't know if that's still something that he does, but it's something he was doing as recently as like a year ago, I think. But like, if you've got all this fucking money, and these are very corrupt things, these international sports organizations, right?
Yeah.
So instead of going, and I know that there's a bunch of the reason that we have this jumping from country to country thing is in order to enable the grift and the graft that these people are able to skim off the top of, right?
Right.
And so like that is all of the incentive points to, no, let's just keep picking new countries and getting money from these new countries every time. But what we should really have is an island. Currently, it's like the goofy libertarians are always like trying to create island nations, right? Like they're gonna go create a new nation out there. We've got the World Cup once every 4 years.
Yeah.
We've got the Olympics once every 4 years, and then the other Olympics once every 4 years.
Yeah.
Just pick a spot, right?
I don't think you can have both Olympics.
No, you can. But because and then you can also play the World Baseball Classic there or something in the.
But you
fourth
can't
year.
have both Olympics in the same place because of climate.
No, you can. You just do it different times a year, or it's
no island.
You're a trillionaire. Look, they did air conditioning in fucking.
You can choose 2 islands, but you can't.
Look, if you can make Megatron's butthole down there in Atlanta into a 68-degree paradise,
right,
when it's practically fucking subtropical in Atlanta most of the time, you can do anything with temperature control. They've got indoor.
I guess you could do it. It would cost a lot of money, but I guess this is where all the rich billionaires comes into play.
Yeah, and we should just have like fucking Sport Island or the nation of sport. And that's where you go, and you have your World Cup, and you have your Olympics, and that would rule. That's
why can't
nation of sport?
Why can't America be that island? I know it's not an island, but like just it's like back in the day when San Diego used to have a football team. They're like, why aren't they just have the Super Bowl like there and then like like some Florida place and just kind of rotate instead of like
Because we're very icky, Abe. I'm sorry. Donald Trump getting his gross, icky fingers in everything with the World Cup made that feel a little bit icky. You don't
think a billionaire-funded island is going to eventually become icky itself? Like,
yes, but
weird
that can
shit
be
will be
icky
happening
for everyone. It's
That's
icky
true,
for
yes.
everyone. It's not just we don't want to be. You don't want that directed all at one nation.
Right. But what if like some crazy totalitarian guy, like his country loses and they're so upset by the refereeing that they invade the sports island, and now you have a war at this war place because of some sporting thing, right? Then you have like
you can't live your life
Falkland
that
Islands,
way. You
but
can't
like-
just not have sports island because someone might invade it. Also, it's full of athletes. Good luck.
That's right. And then
Speaking
in the future,
of,
all those good-looking athletes, interacting, they're going to spawn some super athletes,
Fuck
right?
Island.
Who
Fuck
are they going
Island
to,
is what it would become.
What will their loyalty be? Like, are they going to be like, you're the parent of like this Norwegian skier? Like, you got to play for Norway in the future? Like, how's that going to work?
All right. I haven't banged out all the logistics.
Do you have a name for this sports island?
I said, Lori said it's Dick's Nation of Sport or whatever.
There you go.
You said it
that
first.
works for me.
Sold.
There is something North Korean about Trump parading onto the stage there and demanding to be part of the picture also, right? Like it's such cheap little fat man dictator shit. And it's very untoward and embarrassing. Like
also,
if we were still capable of being embarrassed by Donald Trump, that would have been sort of humiliating.
Right. This in the grand scheme of things, this part doesn't matter. But like at the beginning, they did the national anthem of America, even though America's not in the finals. Like, is that how it's done? Like, did Qatar play their national anthem and Russia theirs before then? Like, is this a new
I don't know.
wrinkle?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because I don't remember that being a thing. It'd just be like, hey, these two countries' national anthem, and let's go. That's how they did it for all the other games.
Did you see this thing about New Jersey businessmen and the gas station and how they're selling gas for $3.47 a gallon, even though
Are they letting you pump it yourself?
No, it's New Jersey. That's not allowed.
Okay, this $3.40. I saw a gas station here in Atlanta that had it, and I would not have really clocked it if it weren't for the fact that gas was like much higher everywhere else. I'm like, why is this place? And there's no like sign outside saying this is like a Trumpy thing. I thought that was weird. But in New Jersey, they're doing thing?
It didn't say Freedom Fuel on the...
maybe
on the
I
gas
missed it.
station?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. Is that what New Jersey is doing? They got some...
So here's the article. The men behind Trump's $3.47 gas, an NFL coach, a GOP fundraiser, and 2 New Jersey brothers. And you can see here in this photo, it's a Freedom Fuel Network.
What is the significance of 347?
So the 47 is in reference to Trump being the 47th president of the United States.
Okay.
And the 3 is just because
World War III?
I mean, it's what gas
Also,
costs.
I know, but if you're
roughly.
really about this Trump thing, 347 is not impressive. 247 would be more impressive, and it still has the 47.
The second term.
Where was that? Remember?
Right, also...
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the thing that is interesting to me about this is that $3.47 a gallon. If you had been told this story, President Donald Trump and his White House have blank the Freedom Fuel Network, a chain of star-spangled convenience stores selling gas at $3.47 per gallon in blank of the 47th president. If you'd been told this story like a year ago, you'd have said, "Oh, are they making fun of him?"
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Are we somehow dumping on it? Because like at $3.47 a gallon, that is significantly more expensive than gas was this time a year ago. And that's only like roughly, I think nationwide we're pushing $4 a gallon right now. But like, yes, the White House is enthusiastically promoting the Freedom Fuel Network because they're selling gas at $3.50 a gallon.
Right.
And like that's now an exciting thing we're supposed to be thrilled about.
It's so ridiculous. I mean, I was old enough to remember your boy Newt Gingrich. Didn't he, as a centerpiece platform, announce that he's going to make gas $2.50 if he became president back in 2012 or whatever it was? And now we're at $3.47, which is not good.
I remember filling up for less than $1.
I do.
Like I remember when gas
it was
cost
20 years ago, more than 20
right,
years
when I was
ago.
first driving.
Yeah.
I think
99 cents, 98
but
cents.
also in Athens, I have a memory of getting gas for as low as like 89
yeah.
cents a gallon at like
That was
early
also 20
on
years ago.
in my pizza delivery career.
Yeah.
And not to say that like we need to go back there.
Double
but,
cheeseburgers were $1.
Yeah.
Minimum wage was like basically the same. So
Yeah, that is true.
so that's good.
Anyway, the brothers, I'll share a link in the show note, but the brothers are fucking scammers, and this is all a publicity stunt, of course, but they're just selling gas at a loss to try to get people in the door.
Is this an active NFL kicking coach? Who does he play for? Who does he coach for?
I don't know. I already clicked away from the thing.
Okay.
Abe, I bring up this story for one reason. I'm sure that you'll fill us in here, but headline: 5 dead in attempt to save a struggling swimmer in an Ohio river, sheriff says. Now, I don't want to besmirch your character in any way, but I read this and I thought,
Abe would never.
Abe would never die trying to save someone from drowning.
First of all,
And
Couldn't be
and
Abe.
it sounds like I'm besmirching your character when I say that out loud, or when I have that thought. Right?
First of all,
what sort of a person must Abe be if the first thought that I have reading that headline, 5 dead trying to save a struggling swimmer, is
First of all,
my best bud
My
would not.
friend's inside.
that is the right thing to do. If you ask any of these like Red Cross swimming people or anybody in the world, like
Abe immediately appealing to the experts.
that's right. Here's the thing. What's interesting, it's a shame that so many people died, but you know the way they characterize it is that they're trying to impugn the character of the initial swimmer. Like water can be tricky, like unless it's like a YMCA pool where it's very calm, like you should survive that.
Even then.
If somebody was struggling there, maybe, but if it's in the world out there, never get into water where somebody's struggling. First of all, who am I to say that I'm a better swimmer than this person who's currently struggling? I'm not. What am I contributing to this cause other than just a second victim, right? So you have to be aware of your skill set and also realize that when somebody is struggling to swim, they're desperate, they'll bring you down. I don't know how the other four people died, but I mean, this should be a cautionary tale. There's no glory in dying this way. Just stay back,
what is
assess the situation.
You blow yourself up to kill a bunch of people. What's that
Suicide
called?
bomber?
Yeah.
Suicide drowner.
Yeah.
Yes. The thing
also,
is, I mean,
Abe's right. The first rule of CPR and like that stuff is like make sure it's safe.
Yes.
They made me, I'm CPR certified. It's bad news. The first thing is like make sure it's safe for you to approach the person.
Right. Why didn't anybody ever ask, like, why is this person struggling? Maybe there's some undertow, some sort of force that you can't see that's fucking them up, that's going to fuck you up. Like, what do I don't understand this idea that you're like David Hasselhoff running to save somebody. You can't do what David Hasselhoff does.
I'm not arguing with you, but when I envision you approaching this scenario, do I see a man expressing a great deal of concern and like trying to alert the authorities and like getting by the side of the river and like waving his hands around, or do I see a man quietly turning his shoulder and saying, "I'm sure someone's called the police"?
No, he's turning the radio up in the car.
That's right. Avert your gaze. Like I was looking that way. Actually, I don't know what all the commotion is behind me, but that is. I don't understand. Like, is this a family situation? There's no way. Why are 5 people dying when one person was dying a second ago? Like 5 is more than 1. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just minimize the damage.
What's that train switch problem where you can kill a bunch of people?
Yes,
yeah. They chose kill a bunch of people.
The Ohio sheriff said the child who ran for help, prompting the 911 call, has been placed in the care of family services along with another child under the age of 10. So a couple of the people who died, he no longer has caretakers. He called 911. The question is, will the initial person who drowned be tried for manslaughter for the 5 people who died
in
trying to
absentia?
save
Like,
them?
I mean, they're dead.
Yeah.
The punishment by punishment of death.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
And I think the Good Samaritan...
I only bring that up to let Abe explain why he wouldn't jump into a roiling river to attempt to save somebody who is obviously drowning.
The Seinfeld finale had like a Good Samaritan law plot line where like they did not help somebody and they're bad people and all the character assassination witnesses that they had to make fun of them. But I think swimming is different. Like, if somebody is in that situation, there's no Good Samaritan law that's going to compel anybody to jump into that water. I think you're in the safe. Don't help. The damage has already happened.
Try to alert an actual hero.
Yes. Yeah, call 911. Got bad news, fellas. Somebody's drowned.
There's this thing. This might sneakily be among the most. I mean, we've talked about Trump's bald-faced corruption before, but Truth Media Group, or whatever they call the Truth Social company, is floating the idea of selling early access to Trump tweets to like Wall Street hedge funds and other investment firms. Trump Media pitched $100,000 monthly fee for fastest feed of U.S. president's posts, sources say. And so this is probably something that would be mere moments before the tweets or the truths or what have you would go out to the wider public. This would not be something that like intelligence agencies would be interested in or foreign governments would be interested in, but rather the idea from the Trump Media Group is that you want to sell this to investment banking firms so that your algorithms can read the tweet and then very quickly make the trades to get ahead of the market. How is this a thing?
How is that different from like so you're paying for access and that additional time, however long it takes for this premium only version and like the rest of the wider world? What is it, like a couple of minutes? Did they specify?
Doesn't specify.
Time? Okay. But it's enough time to make it worth their while to pay in, right? So basically you're paying for access to information, privileged information, so that you can do something with. You're not doing this as this charity, right? So the people who are going to be paying into this, they think they can make money off of the information that they get mere minutes before everyone else gets it. How it's legal, I don't know. I mean, isn't this like insider access? You're basically commodifying something that should just be public information. And I don't know what the courts will say, but this seems to be like illegal.
I think it's so. When he was asked after the news came out a couple weeks ago about how Trump has made like $1.5 billion just in crypto and has added $2 billion or something to his known public personal wealth in the last couple of years since becoming president again. And he said, well, I'm doing well because the whole economy is doing well, right? And that's an obvious lie.
Right.
But he pointed to the stock market as the reason why he was doing well. He's not entirely wrong about that, and I don't think this is something that we'd mentioned before, but like he bought a bunch of Dell computer stock and then tweeted about Dell computers a whole bunch of times and watched his investment grow by millions of dollars. Like it's exactly the sort of what I think of as like very low level crime sort of stuff, right? Like use your influence to drive up the price of something that you have semi-clandestinely invested in recently so that you can make a ton of money.
I mean,
and
this is
presumably get out.
Like a pump and dump. Isn't it something that he used to do where he would like pretend he was somebody else and like share some information about a company that he had invested in, make enough money after it gets all the press, and then get his money out? Like this seems to be like an exaggerated version of that.
Why would he continue to do this is sort of my question. Like, and I know that you often say like, why isn't enough money ever enough?
Yeah, it's never
right?
enough.
Like, but is it just like that's what winning is, and he doesn't know how to stop attempting to do the winning, and so the idea is to just continue to accrue as much money as possible while the getting's good?
Yeah, I think he just sees opportunities to make money, and it's like you never turn down those opportunities. And who are his peers? Probably like those weirdo sultans who are like rich beyond imagine. Like, you know, they're like billions of dollars in these like wealth funds that they have, and like, you know, the Putins of the world where they have enriched themselves by being in office. So maybe he's thinking like, I need to get rich like that, not like a regular ho-hum billionaire. I want to be like that kind of rich. And
I got the Maggie Haberman, Jonathan Swan book that just came out called Regime Change on audiobook. I haven't listened to it yet, but I have listened to a handful of interviews that they have given in promoting this book. And something that stands out is the question of access to the president. Like, who is talking to the president? Who is making these decisions, or who is feeding him information that is leading to these sorts of decisions? And the fact that the Republican apparatus that was there in the first term has largely been replaced by just people that will tell him what he wants to hear is a problem for the country, but it's also a problem in terms of like what sort of harebrained bullshit schemes is he going to find himself involved in. And you can just look to the crypto stuff, the licensing of his name and image, whether it's to sell Bibles or crypto tokens or whatever, but also like this Trump media thing. Like, I'm sure it's just some fucking grubby scammer coming to Donald Trump and being like, hey, we can monetize the shit out of your Truth Social feed by selling access to early access to posts for $100,000 a year. Why the fuck not? And there's nobody in his orbit any longer who's like, hey man, that's a real bad idea.
Right.
Like, that's a bad look.
Right.
We shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
If there was ever anybody in his orbit doing that, they no longer exist, according to Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan. It's just like he says things like, no, those poll numbers are fake, get me the real numbers. And when he says those numbers are fake, get me the real numbers, what he means is bring back a poll that shows that I am well liked,
right,
and doing well in the world.
Right. And
so someone will come up with that, whether it's his aide who apparently follows him around with a portable printer
Yeah.
in her purse so that she can find and then print off articles that are flattering to the president. But like if he wants employment numbers and he says those employment numbers are bad, he will find an aide or someone who will give him employment numbers that make him feel good instead,
Right.
even if those numbers are obvious lies. Seems bad.
Right. But it seems to be also consequence free. You know, maybe the lesson, and I think Trump himself has said as much, where lesson learned from the first Trump administration, like people don't care as much about these things. And so just go ahead. Do not consider like how it's going to appear. Just do it. People will move on to other things. People don't have the attention span to care. And if you do enough of these things, like, it's kind of hard to keep track of the different like stories that come out of the White House. And this book that you're going to get around to reading, this is just 1 year, right? This is just the 2025 year, right? Is that correct? Where it's
Right.
just the first year of the second term. And so like I can only imagine all the crazy stuff that has gone on just in this 1 year. And there's like 3 more to go.
We mentioned last week that Air Force One, the new one from Qatar, is being they have to take it out of commission for a little bit. And there was when you brought it up, this hadn't happened yet, but there was talk about how like there were concerns about the upgrades that were done to it or something. But he flew it out to somewhere, and then
Was it Turkey? Was it?
Yeah, to Turkey.
Yeah.
And the Secret Service was like, "Hey, we can't fly that back." It's like, oh my. And as it turns out, the reason for that is that they were flying without, specifically, apparently, anti-missile technology that would prevent somebody from just fucking shooting it down out of the sky in the way that the old Air Force One or the properly equipped Air Force Ones are supposed to have. Like, you know, like countermeasures, like you remember from the movie starring Harrison Ford called Air Force One.
Yeah.
They have all sorts of fun countermeasures on that plane. But apparently they don't have anti-missile technology yet on this plane, and so he's going to be flying something else in the meantime while they get that retrofitted. And then he goes, and the administration or the Justice Department is now seeking the phone records of New York Times journalists who uncovered the fact that the plane didn't have anti-missile technology on it, presumably under the idea that even like talking about the fact that Air Force One doesn't have anti-missile technology is itself now a threat, right? Like before anybody knew that Air Force One doesn't have anti-missile technology, we were all just walking around blissfully assuming that our president was well protected in the skies. But the knowledge of that coming out can be considered a national security threat because it's now known that. Now, I assume that these orders will be squashed by a judge, that the New York Times will not be forced to give up their sources in this fashion because it's bold and stupid. But that idea, this animating idea that somehow telling people that Air Force One doesn't have anti-missile technology is is a potential threat to the system in a destabilizing way, right? That's the Trump position.
Well, it's like the house looks locked if you don't know.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the Trump administration position. Like 4 days after he goes on television and tells everybody that the United States election system is a complete disaster and is just ripe for the picking.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like because my thought coming out of that speech that he gave last Thursday was this is the single most damaging series of statements or a single most damaging speech that a president or anyone, but because it's the president, it is uniquely damaging to the institution of American democracy and elections because of who is saying it. Right? Like because he is the one who is insisting that the entire system is ripe for the stealing, we should not have any faith in it. And he's doing this, I think, plainly to get ahead of what will likely be a disaster in November for his party so that he can then point at the Republicans' failure to pass the Save American Elections Act or whatever it's called, and say this is why we lost, because you didn't have the balls to pass this bill that would have prevented this outright thievery from happening.
I was at the theater when the speech happened, and I never got around to watching it again. Did it come across you as like an attempt at creating a pretext to take some action before the midterms, or is it just a justification for why the loss is going to happen? Like, where do you think
if he was literally anyone else, I would assume the first thing, that this was a pretext for him to cancel elections and be a monster in the way that we imagine totalitarian assholes to be. He has signaled that he is going to do totalitarian shit without ever really doing it, right? Like, he talks a big game in that way. Like, if this was literally anyone else, you would see this speech as the pretext for canceling elections or something to that effect, right? Or for executive orders out the wahoo to attempt to do all sorts of crazy shit with elections. I don't think that's it. I think he's much smaller than that. I think this is just about him being able to say, no, the 2020 election was stolen because there were all of these reports about how China was trying to steal it. And the 2028 or 2026 election is going to be stolen, and it won't be my fault. Right? Like, this is much more about ego massage and his own personal conception of who he is in the world relative to popular opinion than it is about doing anything tremendously nefarious in a election shutdown sort of way. But I wouldn't change a word of the speech if I were to put it in someone else's mouth and then subsequently give them the authority to shut down elections. Like, it very much feels like that sort of a thing.
Well, I mean, obviously I know the answer to this question is because it's the election he lost, but it is interesting that the 2020 election he's focused on. Like, you would think he would have been briefed when he was president then, right? Like, is this just like newfound information? Did this information just fall off a truck?
This is the claim. The claim that he's making is that nobody told him about it in 2020, and that seems very much not to be the case. Which, surprise, surprise. But like, he's also always presenting information as. Nobody knew this. Nobody knew this. Did you know that they were going to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill? Who knew this? It's like, no, man, we all knew this. You just found out today because you have a bad attention span. And when we were all having this conversation, it hadn't occurred to you to clock it or whatever. But like, when he was getting briefings, and like, he wasn't getting his presidential daily brief. Like, he doesn't actually receive that stack of papers and then read it. Like, as we were just saying, he just wants the hot blonde to print him out something that is favorable to his ego. He doesn't actually want to hear anything. So yes, of course, all of these reports were out there. It's not a surprise to anyone. And there's nothing, I mean, and experts say, there's nothing in his document dump that the Senate, for example, the Senate Intelligence Committee didn't already fucking know. And if the Senate Intelligence Committee knows it, then there's no reason that the Trump administration wouldn't have known it.
Did he make any pointed claims towards the Georgia Senate? The two, Ossoff and Warnock. And I read somewhere where he was trying to make some thing about those two specific races back in although those were runoff elections. So like, I don't know how.
I don't remember them coming up in that speech in particular, but
so
maybe
it was just like a very broad, there's a nefarious foreign actor that are meddling, and we need to.
Yeah, and he sort of briefly touched on Russia is doing stuff in our elections, but like, it was one mention, and then nothing, and it was mostly about China and like various data hacks and all of the rest.
What do you?
Yeah, sure. Election people have been bringing up for years and years that there is reason to secure our elections. There's also no reason to believe that the 2020 election was stolen.
The broadcast networks used to play a more outside role as far as coverage goes. What do you make of and now it's less so because you can get this anywhere, but like, what do you make of the fact that some of the stations decided not to broadcast?
Well, it was funny because I went I went to go watch it. I flicked on PBS, and they were showing like regularly scheduled programming. I was like, "What the fuck?" I assumed that, like, I had sort of assumed that the cable menu hadn't properly updated, and I was going to get to see the thing. But no, it was the thing that was on the schedule. And then I went to, I think I flipped over to ABC, and it wasn't on there. And CBS, it wasn't on there. And then I'm over to Fox, and it's like, okay, here we are. I can watch this fucking speech now. And what was striking to me is, first of all, yes, it is amusing that the networks decided that this wasn't worth their time. It was the right decision, ultimately. There was nothing in the speech that was of compelling national interest such that he needed to get in front of all of our faces that night. He could have talked about the Iran war, and that might have been worth our time. Right. But instead he was just like, no, the Iran war is going great, and it's going to get better, and we're going to have miracle gas prices in 2 weeks. Don't you worry.
And then he pivoted to election stuff?
Right, and then straight to election stuff. But what was interesting to me was less that the networks didn't carry it than when I flipped over to Fox News after the speech was over, and they were 2 minutes and done and on to something else. Like there was,
really?
It wasn't like we're going to now devote an hour to breaking down this Trump speech because of the important things that he said. It was very quickly like they realized, oh, this is just the same bullshit he's been on for quite some time. We're going to stick with our regularly scheduled screaming and moaning about the liberals.
So they did not have like a panel ready to go, like a Brit Hume type. They're like, oh, this was a very effective speech.
No, they just discuss it for a minute, and then they're on to the rest of their whatever the C thing was going to be on that night's broadcast on Hannity.
Yeah.
It was just back to regular stuff, which I don't know if it speaks necessarily to like what life will look like 2 years from now or 3 years from now when Trump is finally shuffled off to the side. But like he hasn't done this a ton. He hasn't forced himself into our living rooms on a random Tuesday or a Thursday night very much, as much as you would expect necessarily. And part of that is just because he goes and talks to the press every fucking day. So, like, why bother? But is this an indication, perhaps, that his lame duckness is starting to reveal itself? Or maybe it's more likely it's just the fact that, like, he didn't bring any juice to this in a way that was new and interesting.
I wonder if,
despite what he wants everybody to believe.
I wonder if going forward, if he wants to have the audience that he wants, like all the networks to show it, he's going to say that it's about something of like national import, like, oh, I got a big thing on Iran, and then all the networks cover it, and then you just do what he was going to do anyway, right? So like, just have the teams there waiting, and then he can just switch. But I think he said from the get-go that this was going to be a lot about the election stuff. So I think a lot of the networks were like,
he said there's new bombshell stuff about the election stuff, and there was nothing.
Right.
Do you think this is kind of random? Do you think he serves out this entire term, or do you think that he resigns before the natural term expires?
I don't see any scenario where he willingly gives up this power.
It didn't. So I didn't think so either. And then I was trying to think of what would December 2028 and January of 2029 look like. And he's 2 years older than he is now. He's, in all likelihood, unless something really weird happens and they nominate somebody just completely unacceptable, he's in all likelihood handing the White House over to the Democrats.
Right.
And it remains entirely possible that they will nominate someone completely unacceptable. Don't punt entirely on the idea that like AOC is going to be the Democratic nominee.
Not this cycle. It's probably. I mean, just go with somebody simple like Josh Shapiro, like like a governor from that.
Oh, the Democratic Party is going to nominate a Jew, are they, at this moment?
A very popular governor from the state of Pennsylvania. He would do pretty good, and then get somebody to balance the ticket from the South or something.
I would have no problem voting for Josh Shapiro against somebody like J.D. Vance.
You don't think a candidate?
If I felt myself compelled to vote for one of the two parties again, which I was for the first time the last couple of times out.
I mean, it's going to be a very bruising process in the I think both parties, because you have the biggest names out of the Republican Party are in the administration, Rubio and Vance, right? So you can't create any daylight between you and Trump, and how that's not going to play well when you're out trying to win support if he's not a very popular president. So they're kind of stuck there. And then on the Democratic side, it'll just be like which wing of the party will win out, and it'll likely be like a moderate. Usually there's a lot of noise, and then the moderate gets in, and I don't see it.
I think this is a wild prediction. I think he pardons everybody by Christmas of 2028, and he's done, and J.D. Vance is sworn in as the 48th president of the United States for a month or so.
What would be the advantage of doing that and not just – he could just be at Mar-a-Lago. He doesn't even have to be at the – like once the election's result is done, he's not even running, so it doesn't matter to him. He could just be at Mar-a-Lago. He'll have the secret protection. All the stuff will be there, so like he can make decisions from there. Why did he need to give off this power to Vance?
But what is the power that he's given? Like I think that –
one more month of money making,
It will be some sort of a scheme, some sort of a thing, but he will turn it into the only right thing for Trump to do. Like, they can't take it away from me because I gave it up. Like, you're not breaking up with me because I already broke up with you. You're not firing me, I quit, that sort of thing.
But you don't think that the term limits gives him that out? Why did he need to get out any earlier? Because I
don't know.
Like, if it goes the other way, he'll just make fun of, like, if it's Vance or Rubio, like, he wasn't strong enough, Like, you need to be strong to win. And, like, he could just take pot shots at his supposed successor that failed and just ride out the clock. I mean, unless there was some sort of...
So let's run it. Let's run the same conversation, but 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
The worst happens from Donald Trump's perspective. He loses the House and he loses the Senate.
Yeah, that would be the worst. Yeah, I don't see that happening, but yeah, that would be the worst case scenario.
He is impeached, and then not only is he impeached, but he's going to have trials now, right? It's not like it's going to be a Republican-led Senate that is leading this trial, which is just this fucking bullshit 3 days or whatever, and then they get on with it, right? It would, if the Democrats are in charge of the trial, it will be a fucking all-consuming production. What is the appeal? And they will continue to impeach him until they cannot impeach him any longer, right? Like, he'll be impeached once, they'll go to trial, and then that will fail. He'll be impeached again for something else, and that will go to trial. Like, it will. Why subject himself to that for 2 years when he could just resign and make J.D. Vance the president and go fuck off to Mar-a-Lago and have a perfectly good time?
Right, but instead of like an impeachment process, it would be like just a hearing just to unearth more stuff, just to kind of embarrass now the former president. So like, I think he's like, I'm going to hold on.
He's not going to respond to any of that. They can do fucking Adam Schiff can do whatever the fuck he wants over there in the Senate. Who gives a shit? Right. I'm down here in Mar-a-Lago or at my golf club in Scotland. Like, he's not going. It's not like he's going to be showing up to be deposed.
Right.
Like, what, are they going to arrest him and get his ass there, hold him in contempt? Like, good luck.
Right. I foresee like a lot of vacation time for me next year. There'll be a lot of shutdowns. Just be at home, go on my trips. But yeah, I think it's going to be very rocky because you don't necessarily need. I mean, the Senate is very tricky to win, especially when you have like weirdos like Plattner messing things up in Maine. But the House.
Speaking of, I had put so shortly before that primary took place, because I was still operating under this theory that like the Democrats aren't actually going to pick a guy with a Nazi tattoo who lied about his Nazi tattoo and then decided to cover up his Nazi tattoo as though he just discovered it was a Nazi tattoo, right? Like, and also, like, half a dozen things that already come out about how he's sort of a womanizer or sort of gross in various ways. Yeah. He had a long history of awful Reddit posts and et cetera, et cetera. And then finally, a couple weeks ago, it is revealed that the person who the Times had sort of gestured at potentially having a problematic relationship with Plattner from long ago, it was that full story came out in another paper. I think Politico had the rest of the story, and then the Times came out and said, yes, we also had that, but we didn't go with it for whatever reason. But basically, the guy, like, spousal raped his girlfriend or something, right? Like, isn't that sort of the long and the short of it?
Yeah.
And he didn't, like, he denies it, but he's also, like, sort of not denying it by virtue of the fact that he's not running anymore, right? Like, somebody else is going to have this spot. I tell this only because before that primary election took place, I had placed a bet on Janet Mills on Kalshi for $10. And it was a $10 bet to return like $140 or something. Because
did you make money?
No, I lost the money because the primary happened and Plattner won.
Yeah.
And so I lost the $10.
Where did the initial $10 come from?
Kalshi account. I had put $100 in Kalshi a while back. I don't know.
Back when you had a job?
Look here now, lady.
More recent than that.
Yeah. The point is they took my $10 and they gave it to some other asshole because Plattner won. But now Plattner's not the winner of that. I mean, he's still the winner of the primary, but he's not going to be the Democrat. I mean, I think his name is still going to be on the ballot.
Yeah. What are they doing?
Even though
are they having like a caucus like next week or this upcoming week?
I don't know. I saw quite a usual suspects row of people who wanted to be the replacement, and not a great overall group of people. But suffice it to say, what looked like a possible path for the Democrats to take the Senate included beating Susan Collins in Maine, and it was always, in my opinion, sort of a long shot. But they tied themselves to this fucking womanizing, raping, Nazi tattoo-having guy who apparently has some charisma, and that's all that matters, right? Like, we want these dirty, awful politicians now as long as they have charisma and say the right things about the working class.
Apparently,
and about Israel, then all else is forgiven.
Right.
But only up to so far. And now Plattner's out, and so Susan Collins is like almost guaranteed now to win the Maine election.
Apparently, Plattner was chosen because of like the optics. Like, oh, we've lost support. Like this sort of like white male, no college education, kind of like a demo. And if we get this guy, and we're not going to win the splits, but at least make him more reasonable, then that will put us over the top over a very resilient Collins, right? Who is always she's faced kind of a close election before, but she always kind of ends up winning in the end comfortably. I remember Nate Silver. This was before Plattner dropped out, and I think before even the election. And he said he posted on Twitter. He said, this is June 5th. Keep in mind that if you're defending Plattner at this point, you're signing up for 5 more months of defending an obvious pathological liar. And then, like, 3 weeks later, everything falls apart. But it is interesting how people were just kind of, like, trying to minimize the uncomfortable parts of this guy because I guess, he's very charismatic or what? Just get some just stiff to go up against a Collins who's also stiff. She's not winning because of her charisma, right? So maybe those main people, you don't necessarily need charisma. I think sometimes these political kingmaker types, they have an idea in their head, and then they try to make that reality instead of it just being like.
Well, but what is the actual motivation here? Is the other thing that needs to be looked at, and for the political kingmaker types, these people who build these campaigns, their goal is just to raise money,
yes.
And the reason that they want to raise money for that campaign is because they're getting a cut of that money. That's how this works.
Right.
You're a political consultant. You work for one of these candidates that you think can make a splash on the national scene. You're getting a cut of the money that comes in there. So their goal, yes, ostensibly, is to elect Democrats, but more importantly, their financial incentive is to come up with candidates who make the most noise, who can raise the most money nationally. The money comes pouring in. The consultant gets paid no matter what happens, right? These consultants aren't giving back money after the Plattner disaster. They've cashed those checks. And so no harm to them. And to them, they can go on to market themselves as wildly successful. I took a Nazi tattoo-having, womanizing, girlfriend-raping dirtbag and turned him into a national political figure and raised $10 million on his back or whatever the fucking number is. What can't I do for you? Right? And so the incentives are all aligned not to go for the stiff, but to go for the people who can raise you the most money. This is the battle between somebody like Chuck Schumer, who would be perfectly happy to have a bunch of stiffs running for the Senate, and the political consultancy class who just wants to make a dollar.
Right. Do you think that the fact that Collins has been the senator there for a while, she's a known quantity, and it seems like enough people liked her up to this point. Do you think that's going to carry her over, or do you think this blue wave that people thought there was going to be a blue wave in 22? I mean, a red wave in 22, and that didn't materialize either. But do you think it is now no chance for whomever comes out of this crowded field in this convention or whatever caucus that they have planned? You think Collins is in no matter what? There's no scenario where she is going to lose now?
I mean, you don't want to say no matter what, but I would lean heavily towards Susan Collins maintaining her spot. Yeah, I mean, some weirdo isn't going to do it. Maybe Janet Mills somehow sneaks back into this and gets the nod. But I mean, if Plattner's still going to be on the ticket, like that last thing I read was his name was still going to be on the ticket in November, and so we're going to have multiple. I mean, and he'll still garner fucking 10 to 15%, no doubt, of people who just click that box anyway.
Do you think Plattner and who was that goober out west, Swalwell, like the experience of those two, like these men in the Democratic field behaving as if it's 1992 Bill Clinton, like where you can kind of get away with stuff that you can't get away with anymore. Do you think that there's going to be a lot of people wary?
I think it's worth noting that Plattner did get away with it until he didn't, right? Until the last thing, because that first batch of allegations was not great.
Right.
It was in the realm of 1992 Bill Clinton, who fucking cares, sort of thing, right? And then it became too much in the end.
But also,
so I think it is worth noting that whether it's Plattner with the woman stuff and the Nazi stuff, or it's the socialists who talk about how just out and out anti-capitalists, right? Like the problem is capitalism. The problem is America and capitalism. Make me a United States congressperson. Like I do think that the terms of our arrangement have changed in important ways, and in ways that are going to be a real problem moving forward. I also think it is not time to panic, right? Because when you look at what happened with the Tea Party post the financial crisis, that was a wave of 40 or 50 or 60 people, right? Like they really did get establishment, like what's his name in Virginia?
That's right.
They turned aside establishment, longtime Republicans, and transformed the party. A couple of socialists here and there, the mayor of New York and some idiot in Michigan, and turning the squad, which was once 5 and is now 3 and might be 5 again soon, right? Like, is that really something to panic about? I don't know. At the same time, whose Democratic Party is it? Is it the party of John Ossoff and John Fetterman, who are going to be a little bit more philo-Semitic than your average up-and-coming lefty?
Right.
Or is it the party of AOC and Mamdani and people who think that there is sort of a litmus test on the Israel question for whether or not you're going to be in the Democratic tent moving forward?
I mean, right now it's up for grabs, right? Because it's no one's party at this point, because you have.
Well, I know where the energy is. The energy isn't on the Fetterman side. That's
right. I know, but I mean, Fetterman is like playing footsie with the switching parties, right? So, like, I mean, like Ossoff is a better example of somebody who's like more to this. I think like if it was 50, if it was 51, like let's say somehow things got worse. Like as far as the landscape in America gets worse, and now the numbers show that the Senate is going to flip, right? The once unthinkable is going to happen. Like you have North Carolina is a pretty easy flip. I think that's already a done deal. Now you need like Ohio, Maine, and Texas or Alaska. Like I mean, very very hard terrain to like win Texas. You know, but let's say you have 4 flips. It goes from 47 to 51, but that 51 includes Fetterman. I see a scenario where if it's 51-47, that 51-49 rather, that Fetterman will be offered like you can be the chair of this whatever, right? Just switch parties and you can run as a Republican and then just write some thing or the party left me, I didn't leave the party, blah blah blah. I can see a scenario where that would happen. So you would need actually 5 flips to avoid a Fetterman conundrum. And that's impossible. I just don't see the math adding up. But if there is that, I think Fetterman's on his way out. Because he thinks it's going to be a cinema situation in Arizona. And I think he's running again in 28. He's not going to win the primary in 28 the way he's been. So maybe he leaves, or maybe he's just going to ride out the 2 years as a Democrat and be done with it. Because he'll be offered some sweet spot on the Democratic side, too. Like you can be the chair of whatever you want to stay on side. But it'll be interesting. But like I said, right now you have very weak leadership because Schumer's pretty weak. Hakeem Jeffries is pretty weak. So there's no national leader until something changes. And that will be like when they start running for president, like next year in the spring. And I think despite all of the noise, I think the Democratic Socialist wing is a very small part of the entire Democratic Party. It's not big enough. I mean, you have a couple of districts in New York.
Yeah, but the conversation will continue to be dominated
right,
by
because it's like the exciting new
noisiest.
thing, right? Because right. It's just like, oh, look at.
But it's not just that. It's like the reason that we will have unpleasant Trumpiness moving forward, even as Trump goes away, is because that's what fucking works, right? Like that's what gets attention. That's
also that
it doesn't mean that anyone else is going to be as skilled as him in harnessing it and turning it into a true movement, but it doesn't. It's not going to lower the volume,
right?
Certainly.
No, that's definitely true.
All right. Last thing about Trump. There's apparently they're going to make a $1 Trump coin.
Oh, really? I thought they were making a 47-cent coin of Trump.
Now, the new $1 Trump coin doesn't just buck norms. Experts say it also breaks laws.
We listened to a podcast about this like months ago, didn't we?
I don't know if it was months ago, but
I think it was.
no, I think it was just in the car last week.
Last week?
Yeah, like on the way up to
No.
the tournament.
No, you're wrong.
In his second term, President Trump's image has cropped up in many new places: passports, national park passes, government building banners, and soon official coins. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent unveiled designs this week for a commemorative $1 gold-colored coin, which he said the U.S. Mint will start producing in honor of the country's 250th birthday. One side features the bald eagle from the distinctive U.S. seal. The other shows a close-up of Trump, encircled by the word liberty in 1776 to 2026. It also says right next to his face, "In God we trust." A coin with the sitting president's face has only been minted once, exactly a century ago, and experts say it's likely illegal. The law prohibits currently on currency the likeness of any person, not just the president, who is alive. The Treasury Department argues coins do not apply, citing a law that Congress passed in 2020 authorizing the creation of a special edition 250th coin. So the claim is because this is special and commemorative and a coin, it's not currency and therefore doesn't fly in the face of established law. I think it's inevitable and ugly, and it's going to be very weird to have Donald Trump coins in circulation.
I mean, first of all,
but if it's not currency, then it won't be.
Also, I mean, how often do you get these coins? I mean, I have like 11 of these $1 coins sitting somewhere in my kitchen because I just don't have any use for them. Like, this is not a
I think they're great, and I wish that they had caught on. I love the dollar coins. The problem is the dollar has been – it's not like you can take $1 and go buy a Coke with it in the Coke machine or whatever anymore. Right now you need fucking 2 of them and all of the – and so everybody's just like, nope, everything's just going to have a credit card machine on it. And we're just going to have tap to touch to pay or whatever the fuck, and that'll be good. Speaking of, I've complained about this in the past. I think I saw at – Wegmans, I think the 20-ounce Coke, like hey, buy a Coke on the way out the door, Coke, $2.99.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild.
$3.
Yeah.
Remember when gas was 98 cents a gallon?
To get a 20-ounce Coke on the way out the door.
And remember when minimum wage was only $7? Oh.
Yeah, it is wild how expensive things have gone. It is also interesting how every opportunity to put his face on something Trump, his face or name. I mean, you had that airport down in Florida that rebranded as DJT. Like even the call signs has changed.
It's such petty fucking dictator bullshit. Right. It's so small, and I do not understand how people think it's awesome. Like that's it's such like dumbass's idea of what a rich man is going to do with a bunch of money. Like it's just such low class, awful bullshit.
Right. It is interesting that some people are not bothered by all. Like, I guess if you take one, it's like, okay, one thing, fine. But it's just a pattern of behavior. Like the Trump Kennedy Center, the airport, the coin. And he always passes it off as if it's like it's being bestowed. Oh, look what they did for me. Huh? They're giving me a coin. Like, I hear that hasn't happened before. Like, you're the one that's getting them to do this for you. Like, they're not doing this on their own behalf. Like, you're communicating in however you do to do this.
All right, it's now time to play America's favorite game show. We have
You sound thrilled.
It's now time for America's favorite game show. Did Mark Strassmann, CBS News' senior national correspondent, get off a good one?
Dr. Luann Woodward. At the University of Mississippi Medical Center, she's the alpha leader fighting the Delta variant.
Strassmann gets off a good one.
A couple hours later, the mob trampled the Constitution. And Roseanne Boylan of Kennesaw, Georgia.
Ooh, sorry, Mark. Try again next time. We can play this for weeks on it. I have a litany of Strassmann's in the back catalog. He's been busy the first couple weeks of July.
And so have we.
I'm going to play this one, how American farmers are under pressure from escalating Iran tensions.
The impact of the Iran conflict on gas prices, pretty obvious, but ripples are starting to appear elsewhere and in unexpected ways. Higher energy costs are putting new pressure on America's farmers. Here's CBS News senior national correspondent Mark Strassmann.
In northeast Louisiana, agriculture pilot Reed Cahey flies with sticker shock. His plane needs kerosene-based Jet A fuel. Prices soared during the Iran war. A gallon that cost $2.46 in February peaked at $4.11 in May and now costs $3.18 and rising again. Cahey buys 7,500 gallons at a time.
So at $4.11 a gallon, how much do you spend into?
A little bit over $30,000.
$30,000.
Yeah, it puts a squeeze, but I can't let my farmers feel that squeeze that it's putting on me.
When you're flying this low, there's little margin for error. And with these fuel prices, this agriculture community feels the same way.
Middle of May, we had 200,000.
David and Teresa Guerrero own a farming business. These corn crops need a nitrogen fertilizer called urea. Nearly half of global urea exports originate in the Persian Gulf. Prices spiked. Guerrero's fertilizer budget is shot.
So total over budget of about $120,000, $130,000.
Even if the Strait of Hormuz is back open, are you going to hang in there? Can you make it?
It's close. It's real close.
Reed Cahey could charge Guerrero more to treat his crops. Instead, he's taking the hit.
Right now, it's a game of survival.
Their survival is your survival.
If the farmers aren't in business, then I'm not in business.
You feel their stress, as though they're flying too close to the ground. Mark Strassmann, CBS News, Columbia, Louisiana.
All right, it did Mark Strassmann, CBS News' senior national correspondent get off a good one.
Yes, he did. Very much enjoyed that. It sucks for the farmers, but what was it? Flies with sticker shock?
Strassmann gets off a good one. Well, I want you to look at something here.
Whose idea do you think that
plane,
was?
I mean, that's the Strasser original.
Right? You got the
sure.
producer or the camera guy. You got the studio back east. You got the guy with the plane. You think that was just his? Hey, could you do like a low flyover while I do this little thing?
I want to know if this aired before or after the Blue Angels thing.
That plane is at least 50 feet off the ground, right?
Yeah, it's way over his head.
Why did he duck?
Because of instinct. Because he's got... You would have ducked. You would duck.
He probably told them to get even closer, but he's like, "You are Mark Strassmann. I can't have that on my conscience that I killed this well-renowned guy."
What? He hits the field. If I'm Strassmann, I'm more concerned with being in the fucking spit range of the fertilizer than I am.
No, he eats that for breakfast.
With the plane, like the wheel of the plane knocking me out or whatever.
Also, he should, like in those goofy like movies of the 80s and 90s where you're like unbothered by the explosion in the background. He should have stood throughout that whole thing. Trust the pilot. Come on, buddy.
Absolutely. How do you, if you were Mark Strassmann, not ask these farmers, so who'd you vote for? Just wondering.
Don't kick somebody when they're down. He's probably just like, I think it's understood.
It is remarkable that the Iran war is just back fully on now, right? Like
and now it's getting the...
people are dying
now more than ever.
And it's getting the Quagmire label, which is never good.
Yeah, and the military is hiding casualty figures and deaths. It's also like there's something interesting about when I saw the pics. You go on the news websites and they show you the pictures of the people who have been identified as U.S. soldiers who died as a result of the fighting in Iran. And it's like Iran bombed some base in Jordan or whatever the fuck, and these two Marines are dead now, or forgive me for not knowing who they are. But what is your thought when you look at those two people who are dead now? And my instinct is like, I can't help but blame anybody but Donald Trump. And like that is in part because of the very shitty sales job that the Trump administration did to justify everything that's been going on for the last 2 months or whatever it is now.
It's been, 4 months now?
4 months, forgive me. However long it's been going on. They did not make the case that there's any good reason for this. Like and I know that the line during the war on terror, specifically during the Bush administration was, Bush lied, people died, right? And the implication there being that the blood of never mind all of the innocent Middle Eastern types who died as casualties of war, but like American soldiers died and it was George Bush's fault, right? Like the implication was we were supposed to pin the blame for those soldiers' deaths on George W. Bush and his needless war on terror. I never had that instinct. Like I didn't feel that the moral to some extent, sure, the moral culpability redounds upon the president in some form or fashion, but like it didn't feel like an unnecessary own goal every time a U.S. soldier died. And right now, when a soldier dies, I don't think of it in terms of how Iran is doing this to our soldiers, right? I think of it in terms of how the United States is doing this to our soldiers, and that's no good.
Right, because this was like literally like a war of choice. After 9/11, initially the Afghanistan war, there's a very direct line. You can see how that war began. The Iraq war less so, but some general, hey, they have this weapon of mass destruction, and we got to do something, blah 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 blah. So there was some kind of connective tissue to something that came before. This one, it's just, Iran has been this autocratic, crazy, religious, fanatical regime for 40 plus years. That hasn't changed. And, there's been different attempts to kind of corral them, most recently with the JCPOA. And then now you just started a war. There was not, I don't recall an address to the nation for that, right? Like it was just like some video message.
No, it was months. It was literally months later,
right,
or many weeks later when he finally addressed what we were doing.
Right. So I'm assuming that when presented with all the options, Trump sold himself on everything's going to work out pretty well. It's going to be like a shock and awe kind of thing, decapitation strike, and then they'll behave like like a total misunderstanding of Iran versus Venezuela. And now you're like 4 months on, and there's like no end in sight, because anytime there's some hope for a lasting kind of ceasefire, there's always some new story that comes out where like Iran undermined this, and then the U.S. retaliates, and back and forth it goes. And so,
right, but there's something. So you're right. There's no end in sight, but there's something extra perverse and shameful about the fact that Trump keeps insisting that the war is won, and any day now we're going to get back to record low gas prices, and this is going to have been a great victory for the American people and global security. He's insisting that Iran has nothing, right? They have no cards. They have we've wiped them out entirely. And this is all just and that is diminishing of the lives of these people who just died.
But what did he say about John McCain? I like the ones that didn't get captured.
Yeah.
Like it's their fault they're dead.
There is something that to me reeks of diminishing the price paid for this by the only people who are paying truly meaningful prices. Yes, sure, the economy sucks and we have to pay more for gas, but like these people are fucking dead because of this, and he's insisting that we've won this great glorious victory even as soldiers are still dying.
Right.
And there's just something about him not taking this seriously in an ongoing way that is despicable in the face of Americans still dying as a result of this. You've been listening to Cast Iron Brains, a podcast with Bob and Abe. Find the show on Substack, brainiron.substack.com for more from us, including, inevitably, the glorious return of the Billboard Hot 100 show. Maybe this week, even. I don't know. The opening and closing themes of the show were composed by Mark Gillig, tetramermusic.com, Tetramer music.com. For more from Mark. Abe, I understand you made it to the movies this week. How was the Odyssey?
The Odyssey was a lot of fun. I went to go see it on opening night. Thursday, sold out IMAX showing. I will say that it's likely that this movie is going to win Best Picture. I know it's early. The Oscars happens next year. But it was very entertaining.
Avengers Doomsday is coming out later this year, I believe.
Who is Doomsday? Is that a character? I never heard of this guy.
Yes, it's a character.
Doomsday, Dr. Doom, or whatever. I think it's the same week
Doomsday.
as Dune Part. By the way, before the start of this movie, usually they'll play like 20 different trailers for upcoming movies. They only did one for the Odyssey, and that's Dune, and it looks pretty good. Like, we'll see how it goes. I think the guy's supposed to turn into like Hitler or something, but we'll see. They did not include that in the trailer, but it looked pretty interesting. There's also, separate from anything, a Sylvester Stallone origin story that's coming out in the fall. That's the only competition to the Odyssey. We'll see how that movie shakes out as far as Best Picture. But for right now,
if Timmy Chalamet the God becomes Hitler, does that mean that I can't run for office 20 years from now with my Timmy Chalamet the God butt tattoo that I have?
I guess.
Great placement. I will say, there's no spoiling this story, the Odyssey. I'm sure everybody's generally familiar with it. But I want to just sing the praises of polytheism. We are in this very boring era where it's just like one God and he's supposedly all good and he knows everything, blah, all this nonsense. Back in the day, nobody talks about Zeus anymore, but back in the day, they had different gods for different things. You got the water god, you got this god, and the love god, and whatever. And you piss somebody off, immediate feedback. It's not like wait until the end of days and you'll be judged. You fuck up today, you get fucked tomorrow, right? And that's, how it was. I think it's a lot better than what we currently have, and it seems like religion and mythologies are kind of like a reflection of whatever anxieties people have at any given time. People are scared of death, so they come up with some story about what happens to you after you die. But back then, they were worried about like whether or not they can cross the sea to do something if there's enough wind, and so they would like sacrifice their young for just favorable wind conditions, for instance, right? And that sort of thing. And I think that's just more entertaining to watch. And so throughout the whole movie, it's just a lot of different scenes where Matt Damon, who plays Odysseus, he's total low character. I mean, there was a scene where they're interacting with that Cyclops guy, the big giant man with the one eye, and they get past him. He kills a few of his men. They get past the danger, but for no reason, Matt Damon's character turns around and he takes a parting shot. He throws shoots an arrow his way and pissing off this giant Cyclops, and he kills more of his men. I was like, that was an unnecessary hit. You got past the danger. The big Cyclops guy said, that's enough. He was going to stop. He wasn't going to follow them until Matt Damon's Odysseus was like, fuck you, guy, for killing my other man. And now he cost the lives of more men for no reason.
I read a piece of criticism about this film. I have not seen it yet. I will eventually. Probably not in theaters. We're busy, which is too bad. But obviously I will see it eventually. A piece of criticism said that they have softened Odysseus, because of course the Odysseus of the Odyssey, he's out here like he really enjoys going out there and warring and killing and doing violence and stuff and fucking smoking hot chicks out there in the world. And yeah, he's sort of on the way home. Like that's the plan.
Right.
But also he's really into the killing and the fucking of the ladies.
Yes.
But they have apparently turned this into a little bit more of like a typical Christian morality play, where it's like, well, he did some tough things in war and all of that, but really he's on a quest to return to his family, and that's all that matters to him.
Well, I mean, it's presented in that way, but also he's coming to terms throughout. Basically, like he's on this Odyssey, like a lot of these words that people use now. Like his main advisor was named Mentor. They're throughout the movie, he's coming to terms with the fact that are we the baddies? Kind of like, because every time they went somewhere, like, hey.
Yeah, but that's not like the whole
I
point.
don't know.
Let's go get at that. Like the Homeric epic is let's go fucking do wars and shit.
I remember it being very boring. I remember Rosie fingered Dawn.
Pardon?
Every time the sun rises, the rosy finger-tipped Dawn. And I don't remember a lot of fun being had. I remember struggles.
I just don't remember Odysseus as this like deeply morally conflicted dude.
The tone, I didn't feel like I was on any sort of fun journey. I was on a slog.
All the different gods were making him humble, because basically like all the places they went to, they were receiving them as if they were rapists and pillagers, right? But they're, from the point of view of the audience, it's Matt Damon and like some other familiar faces, right? These are good people, right? And they're pretending, hey, we're just here, we just need a little more food to take us to the next leg of our journey, right? I don't know why it takes 10 years to do this. I'm sure they were enjoying some extracurriculars, but just the way the villages that they would come to, they would burn down their own homes to prevent, and they would scatter. And they're like, we're not the bad guys. And they're like, the fuck you are not, like the whole time, everybody that they come across, they're like, you guys are the bad people, There are all these rumors about these sea people that are going around killing, and they think it's some other group, but eventually they realize it's them. They're the bad actors out there. And it's very much like this feels like a Christopher Nolan movie. Like a lot of the stuff, like, there's a part where like there's a memory issue where there's like a fog of what has happened, so he doesn't recall, so he's trying to piece things together. There's the coming to terms with what you've done, kind of like Oppenheimer, like what like there's a lot of like Christopher Nolan things. So like if you enjoyed his past work, this is more in line with that.
Is there Is there a sad woman with bad dialogue who has to endure the emotional journey of the male protagonist?
So there are different.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some of that. Yes, everybody did well in the movie. There was who's the rapper? I forget his name. He was the only one that was kind of like out of place, but everybody else kind of fit in pretty well. Travis Scott. Travis Scott. Yeah, I think it's Travis Scott. He's like the first person you see in the movie when the movie starts. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing here? And then the movie goes.
I thought casting Jelly Roll in a prominent position was a surprise, but Nolan pulled it off.
But yeah, I highly recommend it. Very good movie. Those 3 hours felt more like 2 hours. Very nice, well paced.
Good. And worth it in the IMAX, the
Yes,
large format. And
very
you got to see it in one of the rare actual IMAX screens in the world, right?
Yeah. So the Mall of Georgia has this true IMAX. Some of the others they call Limax because I don't know much about. It's just a big screen, It looked very nice. I enjoyed it. And I haven't. I missed the. I haven't seen the latest episode of the Dragon Show, but I'll get around to that this week.
Well, we watched the first episode of The Dragon Show or of season 3 of The Dragon Show. We were watching the recap of seasons 1 and 2 of The Dragon Show that they, like the pre-roll that they put on HBO before you. And it's helpful because it's been like 2 or 3 years since the fucking Incest Dragon Show was on, and Lori was like, "Wait, did we miss a whole season?"
I had no memory.
She just had no memory of large chunks of the narrative, and the reason for it is that the show sucks.
Yes,
and there's no good reason to remember it. And I don't know if I've made this particular complaint before. I imagine that I have, but I don't know. I watched this episode, and we got to the end of it, and fine. Fucking dragons flying around doing dragon shit, and people on boats doing people on boat shit. But my problem with the show is that all of the characters always make the bad decision.
Yeah.
Right? And like if you have a whole show where all of the characters are always making the bad decision and then bad results happen, like why are we watching these people? Like what is the compelling dramatic reason here? Like it is in drama, it is interesting when good people make bad decisions, and then bad things result. Or it's interesting when people make good decisions and bad things result. But there has to be somebody somewhere making a good decision, right? Like assessing the two options and choosing to do the good option. Right. And instead it's just somebody always making the exact wrong choice in the moment. Whether it's a character that we're supposed to be sympathetic towards or somebody that is more villain-coded, they're always making bad decisions.
Right.
And, like, why do I want to continue? Like, as you watch Breaking Bad, and sure, bad shit happens, but, like, all of the fun of Breaking Bad is watching Walter White make fucking very clever and good decisions in the pursuit of very bad things.
Right, yes.
Right? And watching Gus Fring make very good decisions even as he does awful things, right? Like and even as ultimately he is unraveled. But like watching this fucking Incest Dragon Show, it's just the Dragon Queen makes a bad decision. Right. The mother Queen Mum makes a bad decision.
We watched 2 episodes.
Did we watch 2? I think we just watched 1.
What did we do last night?
Did we just
watch 1?
Who died in the most recent episode that you recall?
The sea snake gets maybe killed, but my guess is he's not killed because we didn't see him super killed. But then the young princeling dies.
Yes, okay.
Very predictably at the end of the first episode.
These dragons are very easily killed in this.
This is exactly the other, like, if I was going to nitpick, why did we fucking care about dragons if all it takes is some idiot with a fucking rope and a spear to be able to like do the windy thing on their weapon, and then you can just shoot fucking the Air Force out of the sky?
Yeah,
apparently
it's crazy.
I think 2 out of 3 of the shots were successfully made shots in this episode. Like, so you have a 2/3 chance of killing a dragon if you just shoot at it with a big spear from your ship. As it, like, it's in the air, you're in a roiling sea,
right?
And you can just fucking take it out with this ancient spear throwing technology. This is bullshit.
Yeah,
that's
I mean, you know, they try to explain it away like, oh, there was like a loose dragon that was just kind of causing havoc, and that's why he was so low to get ensnared. But like, come on.
Yeah. Again, that other chick making poor decisions. Like,
maybe being inbred is not
trying to
good
mount a wild dragon and think that you can control it. Like, what are you doing? Another poor decision.
Maybe being inbred leads you to make bad decisions. You know, maybe
there was more incest too. It's enough.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Eye patch trying to make out with his old lady, with his mom. Boy, what the fuck, man?
Wasn't he like in probably one of the episodes you guys maybe saw in the previously on thing that you guys caught up on? But there was a scene where he goes to like a brothel and he's like being like babied by like a prostitute.
Oh yeah, he's got a mom thing.
He's got like a weird mom thing.
She the Alicent, I think is that the character's name?
Yeah.
She's very pretty, but like when she's freaking out, her acting move is to make one eye way bigger than the other, and she freaks out a lot in this episode, and it's not becoming. Like it makes her look very weird.
Right.
Also, I love when actors have one specific move that they go to, and like she acts very much by making one eye much larger than the other.
Speaking of eyes, the one that got the runaway dragon, she makes that a similar, like a face too. She just has the bug eye, oh my god, what have I done kind of thing. She does that a lot. The daughter of what's his face. I can't. You know,
anyway,
what's interesting?
That show sucks, and we'll keep watching it.
Right?
Because why not?
And I'm thinking that this show will wrap up right around when the Summer Olympics in LA is happening, like in 28, like right, because they do every 2 years. So that once they're done with this season in like August, it'll be like June of 28 or something, and that's like right around the corner before the Summer Olympics begin. It just takes too long to finish a story that's not really that good. But yeah, I'll watch.
Yeah, that's the other thing. We all know where the story is going. The dragons fucking die and
Right.
go away for 200 years, right? Like that's where the story is going.
There seems to be like, I don't know the full like how it happens. I know that they all die at the end, but like there's been a lot of talk about like the poors who are like not happy being caught up in this, like where they don't have the food and the whatever, and like it seems to be like it's heading that way, like some sort of uprising by the commoners. I don't know where they're going there, but it seems they spent a lot of time pointing that out, that the people out there are struggling. And these people don't care.
We also watched an episode of an Apple TV show called Widow's Bay.
This show has come recommended. I watched the first.
People keep talking about it.
I watched the first episode and I was like, I don't know if it gets better. How far along are you guys?
We just watched episode 1. I enjoyed it. I am predisposed to like the
anything that reminds him of the X-Files.
Yeah, if it's so, this is like the X-Files crossed with a Stephen King story.
Okay.
Also, that St. Elsewhere show
because of its setting, and it's also sort of Parks and Rec-y. I never really watched Parks and Rec.
It was great,
but it's got that sort of a like
local government,
goofy local
like
government office vibe.
He's like a mayor or something. What's his angle?
Yeah, he's the mayor of this accursed Maine. I think it's Maine island town, basically. And I really enjoyed the first episode. I don't know where it's going ultimately, but it is supernatural in a way that I enjoy. So I think we'll keep up with that.
Yeah, I'll watch a couple more episodes. I forgot to mention, I watched the first couple episodes of Larry David's new show. It's not particularly good. It's like a lot of rehashed ideas.
It looks like I saw a preview. It's like they're doing Larry David does Drunk History.
Yeah,
basically,
it's like Drunk History, but
like.
but he covers a lot of the same ground. If you're familiar with Larry David at all from Curb or Seinfeld episodes, he kind of repurposed some of those ideas in a not fully fleshed out way, where he just kind of injects himself in like different parts of American history, and it's just Larry David going off on a tangent, like what but it just doesn't quite work. I don't know why not just retire.
So it's like Thomas Jefferson having the don't double dip your chip
Yeah,
conversation
yes, like
with
things like
Sally
that.
Hemings
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something. Like
yeah.
it's along those lines.
It's very Just imagine Larry David in any of those situations, and it's just Larry David just going off on people like faux pas in his mind, like somebody cutting in line, like doing the chat and cut, which I think he's done 3 different times. He's doing it yet another time here.
That really bothers him, Abe. Give him a break.
I know, but it's just like people.
It's
chat and
it's
cut.
a joke that he's still trying to find the final form of the joke.
Yes.
Right? Like he must perfect it. He just must keep going back to it. I was pleased that it reminded me of Drunk History, which was at times a very funny show.
Yeah.
It was so great.
But I did not watch an episode of that. What else did we watch, Louie?
Sheep Detectives.
We watched a movie with the children called The Sheep Detectives.
how was that?
I believe that one is available on the Amazon streaming platform.
It was Amazon Prime.
It was fine. Hugh Jackman plays someone preternaturally gifted in the art of shepherding sheep, and falls victim to a murder. And
he is murdered.
He is murdered early on in the film. Yes, and it falls upon the sheep.
It's a whodunit.
To determine who did his murder. It's a talking animals movie.
Okay.
But it's not. There's something about it that just didn't quite work for me, and I don't know what it was exactly. Because I was fine with the talking animals aspect of it, the local flavor of the small town where this is all taking place was perfectly well executed. The cousin Greg from Succession plays the local cop.
Really? Is he on the take?
I mean, he's just a big dummy.
Okay.
Right? Like he just plays him as a affable dummy. But it's basically a whodunit mystery story, and it's fine. Like it won't. If it surprises you, it's because you weren't curious enough to be paying attention to try to figure out what's actually going on. But I don't know. It didn't quite work for me. But yeah, it's fine to watch with the kids.
Did the kids like it?
Yeah.
The kids thought it was cute. Yeah.
Katie likes a murder mystery too.
There was something I was trying to put my finger on what didn't work, and there was something incongruous about how childish the message was on the sheep end versus they tried to have it both ways, and something about it just didn't fucking work. This was a movie whose moral message and tone, or whose moral message was directed at the 5 and 6 year olds in the audience, but whose tone was pretty consistently directed at the 12 to 40 year olds in the audience, which was weird. I thought, somehow the moral message was beneath the tone of the movie, and maybe that's asking too much out of a movie that has talking sheep detectives. But who knows? And I was wanting to go see the Odyssey all weekend to be part of the cultural conversation as it's happening, and then I realized that in 2.5 days nobody will be talking about the Odyssey anymore, and it won't fucking matter.
Right.
The movie made $240 million globally or something. Like it will no doubt earn its keep for the people who paid for it on the long run.
They're making
it's a rated R movie.
Yeah. They're making another Spider-Man in a couple of weeks. How many of these Spider-Mans do we need?
I mean, we're going to find out.
I've only seen one of the new Spider-Mans. And
I think I've seen them all, but I just don't know why they keep making it. It's just, all right, I get it. It's this fucking Tom Holland kid.
Yeah. I don't know why they make any of these Marvel movies. I caught... my kid was watching the Avengers Age of Ultron, and I struggled to even, in my head, justify a reason for it to exist. He watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2 the other day, and he was like, hey, did you guys like Guardians of the Galaxy 2? I was like, I don't know, man. We watched it. I think I was probably annoyed by it and thought that it kind of sucked, but I'm glad you enjoyed it, and that's fine. But I feel bad because I don't think it's just because I'm old. Like, I think that there's a paucity to the Marvel Cinematic Universe that I would not have associated with like the Back to the Future series or the Star Wars trilogy or any of that stuff. It's like the movies that I watched growing up, I felt like, yeah, I could have an interesting conversation with a buddy or my dad about these movies.
Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Those are good movies. Well, that one's not as good. But like, I don't know. Maybe it's being too precious with the foundational elements of my aesthetic preferences as a youth. But I really don't think there's anything to the Marvel Cinematic Universe that allows me to like dig into an interesting conversation with my kid about the movie.
Also, ultimately, it doesn't matter because in that world, there's all these different multiverse. Like, oh, he's not actually dead. Oh, he's back.
Right,
it's
right.
Like,
So I watched the preview for Avengers Doomsday because it popped up on my YouTube this morning. And so I'm watching the preview, and it gets to the end, and there's this apparently big dramatic reveal where Thor, who's, I guess, like lead Avenger now because everybody else is fucked off or is dead. But Thor is like, that's impossible. And the thing that's impossible is that Chris Hemsworth's, or no, not Chris Hemsworth, Chris other one. Chris Evans is Steve Rogers, Captain America, has shown up. And
as
apparently
Captain
that's
America?
impossible due to events in the previous Avengers movies that I either forgot about or don't care about. But this, so I clicked on the fucking wiki for Steve Rogers, this version of him, and it started giving me the like 11 different multiverse things that this particular version of Captain America, and like why might this be interesting to Thor for this version of. And it's like, nope,
right,
don't fucking care.
Yeah,
right. Like if we're dealing with multiple realities and multiverses and all of this bullshit, I just don't fucking care.
It makes everything meaningless.
They wanted to bring back Chris Evans as Steve Rogers / Captain America because people like that shit.
Yeah.
And that's why Doctor Doom is going to be played by Robert Downey, and there'll be some multiverse reasons for why that's perfectly acceptable, despite the fact that Robert Downey clearly was Iron Man for fucking 20 years. Right? Nope, don't fucking care. Don't fucking care at all.
Yeah, I don't understand how. I guess people are going to watch it, like that's going to make a bunch of money. But I don't understand after Endgame why they are doing any of these movies other than just a cash grab.
Yeah, but it's just like the Avatar movies, right? These movies, they come, they make a whole fuck ton of money,
right?
And nobody fucking talks about it. It's not going to have any permanent place in our cultural conversation in a way that matters. The only thing that's interesting about it is like what it means for Disney's bottom line.
Right. But I think that's just kind of the era we're in now. Like nothing really lasts. There's nothing. Everything just kind of comes and goes. Nobody's going to talk about Oppenheimer. After the
even Oppenheimer is a great example. Made a ton of money. Was a very good movie. Right. I'll revisit it, I suppose, from time to time when it shows up on television. Watch it with my kid at some point, no doubt.
You don't watch television.
But, like, who fucking cares?
Right. Also, like, everybody's experience online is different. You're being fed something totally different. If your interests are tennis, you're going to get a lot of coverage on tennis. Or if you want to see a lot of people die due to natural causes, like you have with your AccuWeather reports, like you'll get that. Like, everybody just has, like, so there isn't, like, a place where everybody can talk about the big thing. It's just like everybody has their own world. And so that's why things don't catch on beyond a certain point.
Inception is almost like Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, like that era of movies. Like, is that the end of that? Of when these big event movies happen and we have this thing that we can refer to collectively?
I mean, I remember, I was never big. Like, I enjoyed Star Wars, but I never grew up. It wasn't a thing, right? It's just like, oh, they're doing the Star Wars thing. But I remember when they did it again in the 2010s, there was some chatter around Star Wars, at least initially. There was like some hope, and then that hope faded because the movies weren't so good.
Was there maybe a new hope?
And then the movies sucked.
Yeah, but like at least initially there was a lot of energy around that franchise, and now there isn't.
Abe, you brought up the AccuWeather app. AccuWeather. Bison hurls tourist. Watch the animal toss.
That was on my internet too.
Watch the animal toss this Yellowstone visitor 8 feet into the air. Tap to see it.
Did you see
was
that?
on Twitter.
No, I didn't see it.
I did not watch it.
That
Is it
old
pretty
geezer.
good, Abe?
First of all,
Abe,
he
gives
is.
it 2 thumbs up.
I don't understand why people mess with animals. Like, just leave this big animal alone. But they must have gone beyond whatever the fence says, where they tell you to stay away. And this old geezer who's not very agile, you know, he's running in very straight line formation, which is basically like you need to kind of zigzag a little. You know, these animals can't figure out.
Haven't you ever seen a rodeo clown, old man?
But that animal was really upset. At
Question,
that guy.
Abe.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with the weather? Is my question.
That's a good question.
Abe, have you got anything else for us tonight?
Nope.
I guess that's all we've got for you tonight, then, and we'll talk to you next time.
Later.
Oh, you know what we had? We didn't talk about all the smoke.
Oh yeah,
The
what's
air
going on with
sucked.
that? Like, did it
It's
come and
fine
go?
now.
Okay, so was this like what
It
a
went.
1 day thing? It just kind of came and went.
It was like 2 days. It was
2 days.
really
Did
bad.
you not get any of it?
And it must have
No,
kind of.
they were too far south.
Yeah. Is this those Canadians again? Like, who's fucking up this?
Blame Canada, yes.
So Trump goes on the internet and he's like, I'm going to tariff these assholes because of their forests are burning and they don't brush their forests good enough. And then today he drops 50% tariffs on Canada, and there's no mention of the forest fires because, of course, the air has cleared since then.
What a bizarre human.
But as a pretext, I enjoyed that. But yeah, it was quite bad. Like,
could you play a game? Like, if there was something on the
No.
schedule? Okay.
No, we wouldn't have played.
No.
They canceled swim practice once it got worse. I went for a jog.
Shouldn't have.
Is this like a?
It was
Is it
still-
like like what's the visibility rate? Like, how far?
You can see, it just looks like it's hard because here we have such beautiful views, and
Yeah.
you had none of that.
Okay.
It
kind
was
of-
sort of like right after a huge downpour when there's still a bunch of moisture in the air.
Yeah.
Like real hazy, but brown.
Yeah, it had an effect on the air that was not all that different from the effect of the eclipse.
You could stare straight at the sun. Like it was so blocked you could
The
look
light,
at it.
right? The light was so diffuse, and not just staring at the sun, but like looking everywhere. The quality of the air, not in terms of like the breathability of it, but like the trying to describe the quality of the light almost. And there's a flatness to it that was very similar to what it was like during the eclipse. Or maybe more like on either side of the eclipse, because it wasn't quite that eerie and supernatural that the eclipse light feels like when the actual eclipse is happening. But like on either side of the eclipse, the light takes on a very strange quality, and that's what was going on. And yeah, I went for a jog the first morning of it, thinking like it'd be okay, and it was okay, but I felt like I was laboring towards the end of it in a way that I otherwise wouldn't normally be. And then, yeah, by later in that day, the number had gone all the way up to like 290. The Google alert was like fucking purple.
Oh, wow.
It's like, no, we can't do things.
I walked out of the house in the morning, and my thought was like, "What is that smell?"
Oh, so it also
And
smelled.
then I turned because I was locking the door, so I was looking at the lock, and then I turned around and like looked around, and I was like, "Oh, that's the smell. It's the air,
What did it smell like? Like just like something burning or
smoke."
Just smoke. Okay.
I didn't really catch smoky burning. I just caught sort of dirty. Like it just
Yeah.
felt bad to taste, like when you drink a bad water from the tap or something.
Yeah,
Like,
just bad.
it just didn't taste right. And I was making the joke that, and it's not exactly a joke, but because I looked it up, and apparently this AQI, the air quality index, is a relatively new thing. So it's not like we can compare the air quality index of 1968 before the Clean Air Act goes into effect with today. But the estimates are that like regularly in Los Angeles, the AQI would be well over 300 on bad days.
Wow.
And like what we saw was 275 or 280 or something at its absolute worst. And so the joke is like, this is just what life was like in major cities everywhere around the world.
Right.
Until like the mid 1970s or something. And we didn't experience that, right? Like in our entire lives, we live under the glorious regime of Richard Milhous Nixon and the Environmental Protection Agency and clean air and water. And it's just not our experience of being in the world. But like in the 60s and 70s, that's just what life was like in New York and Chicago and Los Angeles and other major global metropoles.
And more, more recently, like you would see those images out of China and India, like on like some of the worst days. I think they've cleaned up there too. Like you don't see this as much of a problem as it used to be.
Right. But yeah, it was unpleasant and like dangerous.
Yeah, you couldn't be. It was weird because it was like, oh, it's hot, but it's fine. And then you'd walk a little bit and be like, it's not fine. I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go breathe condensed air.
Yeah. Well,
but
So
all
that's
better now.
That's what's been going on with us since baseball
they
ended.
need to do better with their brushing of the force.
The proceeding was created with 100% human content.